Hi all, Lord Rho back again, and today we are talking about the Emperor of Mankind. What's his current status with all the changes in the current law, and just how powerful is he at the moment? I've been looking over the current law for this information, so general spoiler warnings for anything and everything in advance, but there's a few great pieces from the Dark Imperium Plague Wars novel, so if you're not familiar with the current law from there, go check it out before carrying on with this video. So, where to begin? The Emperor is indeed still trapped upon the Golden Throne, and for a refresher, the Emperor is upon the Golden Throne, holding shut the webway gateway in the Imperial Dungeon, the Imperial Palace, from the hordes and hordes of Chaos Demons trying to overrun Terra, like they have been for the last 10,000 years. And of course, he's still powering the Astronomicum across the Imperium. What do we know? Well, what we do know is that he's still alive and kicking. Despite his physical body being virtually a corpse in many ways, his psychic might is still alive and well. And as Guilliman reflected after his reunion with his father, his power was immense. Perhaps greater than it was before he ascended. So, how has this come to be? How could the Emperor be more powerful now than he was before? Well, the answer is most likely that he isn't. I mean, it's not likely that he's now more powerful than he was before, but what I do believe is that as the last 10,000 years of him being trapped on the Golden Throne have stripped him of his humanity, he doesn't mask his power behind that humanity anymore. There's no filter. So what Guilliman felt was the unfiltered power of just having a psychic communication with the most powerful being ever to walk the galaxy. Speaking with the Emperor had been like conversing with a star. The Emperor's words burned him. So he had before, when the Emperor was in full control of all his faculties and wasn't engaged in fighting chaos every waking single second in his mind, he had the ability to filter down his power when he was communicating to lesser beings. He doesn't have that anymore, or he chooses not to try and do that anymore. So you feel the full brunt of his force. In the aftermath of the Horus Heresy, Guilliman reflects that the Emperor had not spoken to anyone after his ascension to the Golden Throne. He was most likely having to focus entirely on fending off the Chaos powers, and through the course of the last 10,000 years, he's focused on nothing else. So it's possible that even as powerful as the Emperor was, 10,000 years of pure struggling and fighting psychically, maybe he has refined his power even more. I mean, who's to say that he hasn't? When you're doing the same thing all of the time, you're gonna refine that pretty damn well down to a fine art. But what since then? Well, we have some good snippets that are left to our interpretation as always with things regarding the Emperor. During the course of Guilliman's Indomitus Crusade and his return to Ultramar afterwards to face his brother Mortarion, it's hinted that the Emperor is fighting the warp storms, allowing Guilliman smooth passage. The warp in front of Guilliman is being calmed, and he's allowing him to travel much quicker than anybody else throughout the Imperium. The expanses of the Empyrean thereafter calmed to perfect smoothness, for the Emperor of all mankind commanded it to be so, and in good time the Primarch's fleet made translation at the Tucson system, which lies not far from the Parmenio system, and there regathered with much relief, for ships thought lost were brought home into the fold, and losses made good. And of course, Guilliman is using the Emperor's own sword, which not only is imbued with a portion of the Emperor's power, where it can give a demon a true death. So where most demons die and they just respawn in the warp, when you get killed by the Emperor's sword, part of the Emperor's power, that's it. They're dead. There's no coming back, not even for greater demons. But also, Guilliman senses the presence of his father every time he wields it. That's quite interesting because the demons are a little aware of that too. My humours are well balanced. I am not a scion of the blood god to seed rage everywhere, or of the infinitely cursed changer who anticipates schemes and plots and writhes with dissatisfaction. I see what there is. It is well within the power of Rubute Gilliman to end the likes of Quarrelmar forever. The sword he bears, Kugarth shuddered. Are you afraid of him, third favoured of Nurgle? I am, said Kugarth, deciding the course of honesty was best. The sword he bears burns with the wounding fires of the anathema. The death it carries allows no rebirth, only an end. The sword is the creation of the being I will not name. It is a weapon that could kill me. It could kill you. So, the demons are very, very aware of the power of the Emperor, even with only a portion of it imbued into that sword. And there's an interesting conversation between Mortarion and the Great Unclean One, Kugarth again, where they are clearly worried that the Emperor could well be acting in the Imperium once more. More than troublesome, said Mortarion. I fear that he is under the protection of the thrice-cursed Emperor. Kugarth winced at open voicing of the forbidden name. I said I would not name him. Why must you, the demon wailed. The warp is smoothed, and though Gilliman is too unimaginative to see that this is the case, hateful light quells the storms before his ship. My father's work, perhaps. Who else could it be? My brother Magnus? He too is my rival. Better it is the Red Cyclops. If your so-called father is again moving his will in so coordinated a way, we have much to fear, said Kugarth in dismay. Not only the sword, but the anathema himself? It cannot be. We cannot face that sort of foe and live. Calm yourself, Plague Father, Mortarion rattled his breath. Yellow vapour puffed from the vents of his rebreather. My cursed sire's influence in this realm has long been weak. If he were gathering more power to himself, we would know. It could be that the misplaced faith of the mortals eases Gilliman's passage. Gilliman surrounds himself with sorcerers and priests and psychers. Perhaps it is their doing, or maybe it is simply ill luck. Or perhaps my father does not remain a worthless corpse and is active again. I cannot see. The numbers are not clear. My divinations tell me nothing. I am not so optimistic, said Kugarth. When are you optimistic, Plague Father? Then we also have a child, a simple young girl who appears to be possessed by the Emperor or something, some form of holy possession, and just arrives in the middle of a battlefield to aid Imperial forces. The girl held up her hand. From the machines came the thump and whine of pumps building tempo. Vessels set behind their nozzles gurgled with pressure. They released their deadly torrent together. They were all caught in it. Girl, battle sisters, and the Major. Devourus screamed as the wash of liquid hit him. He continued screaming as it ran over his face and infiltrated the seal around his hood. He screamed as it filled his nostrils and seeped through his lips. He was screaming still as he tasted it. His brain froze. The liquid in his mouth was nothing but water. Pure water. Cleaner than any he had drunk for months. He blinked and looked up in confusion to the engines. Filth left the nozzles, but water hit the people. Something shielded the girl. Before the slime hit her, it changed and a sphere of water splashed and sprayed from an invisible barrier. Devourus naturally assumed an energy field of the sort carried by fortunate priests and the highest officers. All dead now, he thought. The fields hadn't helped them. But no, it could not be. She wore a white shift. She carried no kit nor any form of device. How? He said, holding his hands into the sweet water deflected from the girl's shield so he might see better. The Emperor, said Ilona rapturously. Wonders grew into greater wonders. Bright yellow light sprang from the girl's eyes, spearing the machines in their single, unblinking glass oculi. Begone, she said. The voice wasn't hers. It sounded... Devourus could not recall what it sounded like, even immediately after hearing it, but it wasn't the voice of a girl, and it scared him to the core. Grinding fan blades seized, the machines fell from the sky all of a sudden, first one, then the other, like hanging victims with their nooses cut. Smoking armour plates crushed off the rubble, empty, their fleshy contents gone. The poison fog blew back from the girl and the sun blazed around her head until... No, Devourus saw he was mistaken again. The light came from no sun, but the girl, shining around her head in a complex halo. She turned to look at him, only at him, and all the fear Devourus had felt in the last 9 months was trivial to the terror he felt in that moment. "Keep faith, Devourus," she said. Light blazed from her mouth as it did from her eyes, so brightly he could not bear to look into it. Her voice possessed an ancient power that pushed inside him, rearranging the clockworks of his soul. "Through faith you shall be saved. Belief is the path to victory." Fog swirled afraid. "Believe and live." She looked skywards through the dissipating gas towards the sickly heavens. "The Primarch is coming." Now that is open to a lot of different interpretations, but again, it leads you down the walkway to who the common soldiers believe it to be. They believe it to be the Emperor, and it's quite hard to disagree with that. Then, at the culmination of this battle, Guilliman has heard about obviously what's happened, and he demands to see this girl because he doesn't believe in the Emperor being a god and saints. He knows the Emperor was a man. He's seen him. He's spoken to him. So he's extremely skeptical about everything that he's hearing, and he wants to find out. "And now she will die," said Guilliman. "You care for her death? You do not? Are you not concerned she might be an enemy trick or a dangerous psyker now, my lord?" Ilonath was bitter, past caring about punishment. "All I see is a dying girl," Guilliman said. "Whatever she is, or was, she was in the first instance a child of terror." He looked skywards at Galanton's underside filling the sky. Lights shone where fightercraft duelled one another, dodging, weaving, firing, exploding in frantic dogfights. They were utterly insignificant next to the Star Fortress's mass. "In a few moments, we will either be victorious or obliterated," he said. "Tell me, sister, do you think this is the best mankind can hope for? Do you believe we can ever survive and know peace?" Ilonath was surprised at his question. He looked at her earnestly. "I have faith, my lord." "Faith?" "Yes, my lord. Faith in your father." Guilliman nodded. "Sometimes I wish I had faith." The girl groaned and turned her eyeless face towards him. "Are you the Emperor made flesh again?" the girl asked in a quiet voice. Her wounds seemed worse now when she was conscious. The words were mangled, barely comprehensible. "I am not he," said Guilliman. "He made me. I am his creation. I am his son, the 13th and only Primarch, Rabute Guilliman of Ultramar." "You look like him," she said, though she was blind. She sighed. A smile spread over her face. "I have seen such wondrous things." "Who are you?" Guilliman asked. "Magnus?" He hesitated. "Father?" Her head lolled, a last breath sighed from her mouth. "Who are you?" he demanded. The girl could no longer answer. So again, we're left to wonder. Even Guilliman is given that doubt, and he even asks, "Father, is it you?" And later we have a heated conversation where Guilliman again states his belief that his father is no god. Matthew took a step backwards. "Did you not see? Your father was on the field with us, working through the child," said Matthew. "She was a vessel for your father's power, chosen by him. His will worked through her." He retreated further as Guilliman advanced on him. "She threw back the demons. No child could have done that. A golden light issued from her. The Emperor was there. He was with us, all around us. He helped you win. The Emperor is with you," gailed Matthew. Was he now? Said Gilliman. I saw unbounded psychic ability let loose. It could have come from any source, not least the gods who are rival to my brother's patron. Gilliman leaned forward, a vein pulsed in his broad forehead. You speak, you priests, as if you know my so-called father, as if you are privy to his will and his word, as if he would speak through you. His fist clenched. Out of his armour he seemed even more dangerous. You have never spoken with him. Not one of your damnable fanatics has ever exchanged so much as a word with the Emperor. I lived with him. I fought at his side for centuries. I studied with him. I learned of his dreams for mankind from his own lips, and I raised my sword and spilled my blood to make them a reality. But there are visions. There are lies, shouted Gilliman. I am the only living being to have spoken with the Emperor for 10,000 years. 10,000 years, Matthew, and yet you dare to suppose you know his mind? You priests burn, maim and condemn on the basis of superstition. You practice your barbaric religion in the name of a man who despised and wanted to overthrow all of these things. The Emperor's purpose was to lead us out of the darkness. You, Frater Matthew, you and your kind are the darkness. He turned his head aside in disgust. These feats of faith can be explained by the workings of the Empyrean. No god need be invoked, and if one is, it is rarely the thing that is called upon. There are beings in the warp that hearken to such entreaties. I assure you they are not gods, and the Emperor is not one of them. None of what you believe in can be trusted. None of it. So, Gilliman, obviously sticking to the Imperial truth despite his doubts. So, what do you think? Whether the Imperial is truly active once again in the galaxy, we don't have a definitive answer. Personally, I certainly think so, and interestingly, so do the forces of chaos, and it has them worried. And why? Why now? Well, that's a question I'm going to leave for another day, because I've certainly got some ideas of why the Emperor is finally active again. But what do you guys think? Is the Emperor making waves once more across the Imperium, or is it something else? Is it some kind of devious chaos ploy that's burrowing beneath the surface to cause discontent within the Imperium maybe? Please leave a like and a comment below with your thoughts. Also, if you enjoyed the content, please subscribe to help me build this channel. It really means a lot with each and every subscriber that I get. And with that said, guys, I will see you again soon.